If you want to be rich in 2026, you need to stop listening to the noise and start looking at your own wallet. Most people think wealth is about choosing the right stock. They're wrong. Wealth is defined by what you don't buy. We are entering a period I call the silent crash. Inflation is still eating away at your savings, and interest rates are punishing your debt. The rules of money have changed. If you spend money like it's still 2019, you could be broke by 2026. I guarantee it. You might be working hard, but your money could be leaking out of a bucket full of holes. I've seen many smart people, doctors, lawyers, end up with nothing. Why? Because they fell into the consumption trap. They bought things to impress people they don't even like, with money they didn't have. Charlie Munger and I have always said that the first rule of compounding is never interrupted unnecessarily. But the 5 things I'm about to show you don't just interrupt compounding, they destroy it. Today, I'm going to share the 5 things you should stop buying immediately. If you cut these out, you won't just survive the coming economic shifts, you'll thrive. You might even get rich. Pay special attention to number 3. It's one of the most common purchases in America, and one of the biggest reasons the middle class stays poor. You probably bought it this week. This isn't about living a miserable life. It's about freedom. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. In the same way, it can take 20 years to build a fortune, and these 5 habits can destroy it in seconds. So, are you ready to seal the leaks in your bucket? Let's start with the first wealth killer, and this one smells like that new car scent. 1. Stop buying brand new cars. This is one of the worst financial decisions the average person makes. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses 10 to 1% of its value instantly. Gone. And if you borrowed money to buy it, you're paying interest on something that's losing value every day. That's financial suicide. If you borrow money at 7% interest to buy something that drops 15% in value, you're digging a hole you might never climb out of. I drive a Cadillac, but I don't buy a new one every year. I drive it until it stops running. Why? Because a car is simply a tool to get from point A to point B. Let's do the math. The average car payment in America is now over $700 a month. If you invested that $700 in the S&P 500 for 20 years instead of paying it to a dealership, you could end up with over $300,000. So that new car smell could cost you $300,000. Is it really worth it? 1. Stop buying brand new cars. This is one of the worst financial decisions the average person makes. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses 10 to 20% of its value instantly. Gone. And if you borrowed money to buy it, you're paying interest on something that's losing value every day. That's financial suicide. If you borrow money at 7% interest to buy something that drops 15% in value, you're digging a hole you might never climb out of. I drive a Cadillac, but I don't buy a new one every year. I drive it until it stops running. Why? Because a car is simply a tool to get from point A to point B. Let's do the math. The average car payment in America is now over $700 a month. If you invested that $700 in the S&P 500 for 20 years instead of paying it to a dealership, you could end up with over $300,000. So that new car smell could cost you $300,000. Is it really worth it? Buy a used car and let someone else pay for the depreciation. 2. Stop buying too much house. I bought my house in Omaha in 1958 for $31,500. I still live there today. People ask me, why don't you buy a mansion? You have billions, because a house is a place to live, not a museum. In 2026, with interest rates still high, a large mortgage can become a chain around your neck. You end up working for the bank instead of for yourself. Society tells you that success means a big house. But if that house makes you house poor, stops you from investing, or keeps you awake at night worrying about payments, that's not success. That's a prison. Don't buy a house to impress your neighbors. Buy a house you can comfortably afford. When you have extra cash, buy productive assets, stocks, businesses, investments. Don't buy empty bedrooms you'll never use. Remember, rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities they think are assets. 3. Stop buying designer brands just to show off. This is one of the fastest ways to look rich while becoming poor. Here's a secret. People don't respect you because of a $5,000 watch or a $2,000 bag. Most of them are just thinking, I wish I had that watch. You're not buying respect. You're buying a temporary illusion. I buy clothes that fit and last. I don't care about the label inside the collar. If you need a brand label to feel valuable, that's a problem money can't solve. Always remember, price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Luxury brands often mean paying a high price for little value. Investors try to do the opposite. Pay a low price for high value. Be an investor, not a consumer. 4. Unused subscriptions and memberships. This is the silent killer. $10 here, $15 there. It seems small, but it adds up. Companies love subscriptions. They're betting on your laziness. They know you'll subscribe and forget to cancel. I check every expense. If I don't use it, I cut it. In 2026, cash flow is king. If 10 subscriptions are quietly draining your account every month, you're slowly bleeding capital. Audit your life. If you haven't gone to that gym in 3 months, cancel it today, not tomorrow. Today. 5. Stop buying things you don't understand. This might be the most dangerous one. Every few years, there's a new magic way to get rich. Crypto hype, NFTs, meme stocks. Many people buy them not because they understand them, but because they hope to sell them to someone else for more money. That's called the greater fool theory. Eventually, you run out of fools. If you want to get rich in 2026, be boring. Don't try to double your money in a week. Try to double it in 7-10 years. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Don't be the impatient one. So what happens if you stop buying these 5 things? You stop the bleeding. You regain control. But saving money is only the first step. Now you need to build your snowball. When you skip the new car, you're buying peace of mind. When you avoid the oversized house, you're buying flexibility. You're not depriving yourself. You're paying your future self. Imagine waking up and saying, I can do whatever I want today. That is the ultimate luxury. No designer bag can give you that. Only financial independence can. Let's recap. To become rich in 2026, avoid the depreciation of new cars. Don't become house poor. Don't buy labels to impress strangers. Cut subscriptions you don't use. Never gamble with your hard-earned money. It sounds simple, but simple is not always easy. Now, I have a challenge for you. Look at your life and pick one thing from this list that you will stop buying this year. Write it down and make a promise to yourself. Now, the real question is, once you save all that money, where should you invest it? There are 2 assets I'm watching closely for the next decade, and they might surprise you. Stay rational. See you soon.